So, Dan, I saw you leaving the office here in Washington, D.C., and I wasn't sure whether you were going to the convention or on a camping trip. I think you're in one of those rapid dry shirts, right?
Yep.
It looked like a fishing shirt. Are you
Yep.
still donning that at night, or are you in different garb?
No, it's different guard. I'm wearing my Washington uniform. Most events here are coat and tie. A couple breakfasts and whatnot are a little more business casual, but yeah, pretty much I packed every suit I had in the suitcase to make sure we had enough to get us through 4 days of convention fun out here.
We talked earlier about last night and the people you were around last night. I mean, how heady was that experience?
Yeah, I tell you, I contrast it from 2016. Just the attitude was completely different. And, there was a lot of anger and, just, hey, this is a long shot. So we got to show how angry we are and whatnot in Cleveland in 2016. Mm-hmm. And that's been replaced with optimism and more unity, and especially in the wake of the assassination attempt on Saturday. I think that has changed everybody's attitude, that we were, an inch and a half away from having a totally different experience this week than having a convention and having the former president speak at an event. Last night was his first formal public appearance since his assassination attempt. And he was in great spirits, but you could see his attitude. He had a different look in his eyes than he typically does. The speech Thursday was supposed to be very much, at the Democrats, at Joe Biden's failed policies. But they've since rewritten it. Trump's rewritten it. And I think we're going to hear more about unity and togetherness and how do we improve our country and bring it back to what we would consider the status quo, and bringing back a sense of normalcy and tolerance in politics instead of this visceral hatred.
Now, you've been around this process for quite a while, Dan. Did it just feel differently when you saw the president after all that's happened?
Yeah, just, when he first walked out, it's hard not to notice the large white bandage he had on his right ear there. It was really prominent. And you're just reminded how close that was to a complete disaster. I was sitting in a suite that was next to the Trump family suite, and Don Jr. Came over and spoke to some of the folks in our suite, and we all expressed relief and concern about his dad, and say, hey, boy, we're happy it turned out the way it did. And Don's response was, hey, I'm a competitive shooter. I've done this all my life. Shooting a pie plate target, a 10-inch target at 140 yards is it's a layup in basketball. It's a chip shot in golf. It's really an easy thing. Don Jr. mentioned, he said, I could have made that shot at 140 yards with a handgun. So he went on to say, look, I'm not really a religious guy, but there's no other explanation for my dad being here today than something intervened. Someone intervened. And I think that the last 58 hours before his appearance, it's been a time of reflection for the family. I mean, I think that would change any human being fundamentally to be that close to meeting your maker.
Do you think that this is, in a way, the proverbial reset button to some extent with President Trump?
I think in many ways. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. One of the keynote addresses tonight is going to be former Governor Nikki Haley, who was Trump's rival in the primary season, was the last person standing in the race. Friday afternoon last week, she did not even have an invite to the convention. And here she is on Tuesday night, one of the keynote speakers. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, also a rival with President Trump formerly. He's also going to speak. So I think there has been a deep reflection amongst not only the Trump family, but also among the Trump campaign. And I think you're going to see during this convention and weeks going forward some real differerences.
So tonight's thematic is built around keeping America safe. What do you expect to hear?
I think we're going to hear a lot about the crime problem that has faced primarily large cities, democratically controlled large cities. And I also think we're going to hear about border security tonight. The southern border has been porous at best in the Biden administration, and that's concerning. It's a national security issue. And the Biden administration has done nothing to it. They've ignored it. They've tried to sweep it under the rug. And you saw President Trump address it after he was elected in 2016. And I think you'll see him do the same thing in 25. You'll see a crackdown on border security, not only on the southern border, but on the northern border with Canada.
Any day after reactions to the vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was very well received. And when he came out and sat next to the president to watch the last couple of speeches, you could see an emotion in him. Having the standing ovation, you could see, almost a hint, a glimmer of a tear. Now, he's a Tough guy, former Marine, Yale educated, came from absolutely nothing and really truly is the American success story. But I think from a electoral college point of view, I think you're going to see the vice presidential nominee parked in the upper Midwest. I think he's going to spend a lot of time in his home state of Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And I think that's where his message and his background and his upbringing really resonates. So I think smart pick. Also 39 years old, he brings a whole lot of energy to the campaign as well.
Well, Dan, when you are sending pictures back to the rest of us who aren't there with you in Milwaukee, are we going to see you dressed in a natty-like way as you are now? Or is that fishing shirt coming back into play?
Well, you'll probably see pictures of me in this similar garb, a dark suit, maybe with a tie on at most of the events tonight. But you will not see any pictures of me from the Boehner warehouse party that occurs late night. That's a little more casual. I will not be transmitting those for obvious reasons here. But great day yesterday again, Adam. Had a chance to spend some time with Susie Wiles, who's running the Trump campaign.
Yep.
Hadn't spent any time with her in about a year, and it was just great to see her. She looked great. I asked her about her concerns. She said, "Oh, don't worry, the convention's going fine." She's already gotten past Saturday and focused on the task at hand. Trenton Morse, another one of our former partners that is got a big role in running the campaign, spent some time with Trent yesterday, also doing fantastic. Saw several members of Congress, saw Kellyanne Conway, saw Reince Priebus, spoke to Reince. He's very excited, being a Wisconsinite, was excited about having the convention in his home state. So we saw a lot of great folks yesterday. We've got in addition to the program over at the arena, we're also going to an event with Florida CFO Jimmy Patronis. We'll also be at an event with the Agriculture Commissioner, Wilton Simpson. So a lot of Floridians up here, a lot of folks very excited about, of course, President Trump, but also Senator J.D. Vance and what he brings to the Trump team. So looking forward to another great night tonight, hearing from Nikki Haley. I'm sure we'll hear some other great speeches. Senator Tim Scott gave one of the best speeches of the night last night. High energy, very excited, positive message. Byron Donalds also gave a tremendous speech. He sat on the right-hand side of President Trump last night. So I think he's got that relationship. We may see a future role for him in a future Trump administration.
Any place you'd rather be than where you are right now?
No way. For political nerds like me, this is the Olympics of politics. It happens every 4 years. You get the best of the best from all over the country, and it's great to meet folks and to network and to hear their stories and to hear what compels them to get into politics. And at the end of the day, we're all here with the same mission. It's to make the country better and leave it better than we found it, and to make a great again nation for our kids and grandkids.
I couldn't think of a better way to close this interview or a better message for America to hear. Dan, stay well, stay safe, keep sending pictures so we know you're doing well and being focused on what you should be focused on as you're going through the 4 days of the convention. Godspeed.
Well, thank you, Adam. We appreciate you taking time out to talk to us. And again, hope to chat with you again after the subsequent days.
Looking forward to it.